podcast. We're going to whisper our way into this episode.
Okay.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because it's season 2.
Season 2.
Did you know that we broke our podcast into seasons?
I didn't know that.
Well, you do now. Welcome to season 2.
I'm excited to know that this is season 2.
It's season. Why did you think we were away for 4.5 weeks? It wasn't because you took 3 vacations in a row.
It's
because we broke for the season.
I'm the lifeblood of this podcast. And by lifeblood, I mean me. I'm okay.
Which means we can't do it without you.
Well, you can. And probably do it better.
You know what I love
What's
about whispering our way into this episode?
My wife says I can't whisper. What is that?
It's all the mouth sounds that are going to make it into this. Oh, goes cold open.
Oh, that's really gross.
Yeah. You know, like this one.
Oh, no, don't. That makes me want to not. That makes me nauseous.
Or
I can't do it.
You know, whenever you get something stuck in your teeth and you're like...
The best part will be the people that turn this all the way up so they can hear us. And then the music starts in about 12 seconds and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I don't know. It's good to be back.
It's so good to be back.
So good. Music.
Nerdy, unqualified, probably indistinguishable from rambling. Welcome to the A&D show.
Hello, and welcome to season 2 of the podcast. I'm David.
I'm Austin, and I don't sing.
And here we are. We're back. We took several weeks off.
We had some time off.
Yeah, we didn't tell you guys that it was the end of the season.
We refocused. I refocused my chakra.
His chakra.
I got my crystals out, and I lined them all up.
Yeah,
and
he did the
said,
whole acupuncture thing.
Oh, chakras of the pink crystal.
I tell you what, it was an awkward thing walking in with all those needles sticking out of you that one day. It was a freaky thing. Don't ever do that to me again. Let me know next time you do the whole acupuncture, because I don't want to see that.
Listen, mental health and wellness is just as important as having your clothes ironed.
Listen, mental images of you with needles sticking out of your flesh is a thing I don't want to see.
It's great.
So,
It's great.
Just saying. Welcome to season 2,
It's
everybody.
good to be back.
It's so good to be back.
I've missed recording.
Man, it's been a while.
It's been a coon's age.
Here's the thing: we didn't tell. Get away from me. One of our
Leave my dog. We're at Studio 3.
We're at Studio 3 again. And one of the dogs just nuzzled up to me and just started, wiping her snotty little nose on me.
My garbage dog.
I don't know how I feel about it. Did you that's right. You found her in a dumpster. She looks like it,
She
at
grew
least.
up in a trash can, and she's my little girl.
But we're here at Studio 3, and it's a nice, cozy, comfortable setting. I got a little buddy here by me. Say hello.
Good girl.
Bow wow wow, and she's done. But we didn't announce the break for the season, and the reason why is because we just decided that because we couldn't get together for 4 weeks.
No, the end of the season.
Season 1's over.
And listen, they don't announce to you when your TV show is ending.
Yeah, they just leave you on a cliffhanger, which is exactly what we did.
You're sitting there last episode wondering, hey, what happened with that next episode? And you're hanging by the edge of your seat.
Yeah,
and
here you are.
And the anticipation is palpable.
It's so
very
tangible. You could cut it with a knife.
Tonight's episode.
Yeah, tonight is a big time episode. Big time, big show, big money.
A lot of big things to talk about tonight.
Big things.
Things I'm very excited about to discuss
the reason
tonight.
it's big things tonight is because a lot of big things have happened, not just in the nerdy realm of nerdiness, but also just in general, in life and love and the pursuit of happiness.
David had a baby.
I did not. Austin did.
I did.
What was it, like a year and a half ago?
Year and a half ago. Close. I had a baby a year and a half ago. So it's kind of the same thing.
She's doing good.
Going like a weed.
Yep. She calls me Uncle Dave, which is great.
I was on vacation and relaxing, and I'm just happy to be home. And
yeah, I wasn't on vacation. I did take a small vacation in there.
Went to Arkansas.
Went to Arkansas. Got to see my newest addition to my family, my nephew.
Devontae.
His name is not Devontae.
Should be.
His name is Harry Potter.
Harrison.
Just
close enough.
Close enough. So, but yeah, big things happening, big things. But in the realm of in the world of the nerdiness, if you were to just kind of reach up into the expanse of nerdy culture that's floating perpetually above all of our heads in the cloud, the nerdiness cloud, it's kind of like iCloud, except it's my cloud because I'm a nerd and it's nerdy, right? Floating up there, they just the nerdy, the kings and queens of nerdiness just dropped a couple little nuggets up there, and we're going to talk about those today.
The first one, which I'm actually probably more excited about than I should be, is the release of the Dark Phoenix trailer that came out today being Thursday, September 27th.
Yes.
Sony released the trailer for Dark Phoenix. I am. A lot of people don't like the X-Men films. I think they're phenomenal. I think that the newest run of the James McAvoy James McAvoy X-Men films are easily the best ones they've ever made.
I agree,
and it's not close.
And it's a lot of it is
hot take here. Wolverine's overrated. I don't care what anybody says. Hugh Jackman. I mean, he's good in the role, but I think Wolverine. Everyone thinks he's like the greatest character.
He's the Everybody's like he's the linchpin of the entire franchise.
He's not.
It's not true because they've made several films that didn't feature him that were maybe not as successful as the entirety of the franchise put together. But in my opinion, I agree.
Yeah, they also made made Origins Wolverine. And if you recall, Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds. That was hot garbage.
Yeah. Yep.
Just hot.
They have since remedied that flaw, but
they have. But Dark Phoenix is probably the. Now I was hoping after the last one that they would have had or that they would have featured Mr. Sinister, and they very well may because the last one in the post credit scene, you saw them with the briefcase from the Essex Corp, which is Mr. Sinister, and I thought that they might somehow incorporate him into this one, and they very well may, but. It appears that the main plot line is going to be Dark Phoenix, played by Sophie Turner.
Yes. So for those
Game of Thrones fame,
for those listeners that don't know, and I'm sure there are at least one, my mom, that don't know, Dark Phoenix is a character that is an alternate persona, if I remember correctly, or at least a dark turn of a good character.
The other side, yeah.
The good character being Jean Grey. Jean Grey was played by, I can't remember her name, in the original. Do you remember the name of the actress?
Oh my gosh, I had a crush
on her. It's like right on the tip of my tongue, and I can't think of it.
It'll come to me because what was her name?
I can't think of it.
I'll think of it later.
It was a weird name. I remember that. I remember that it was just kind of off the beaten path. Anyway, which if you have watched any of the X-Men films, original trilogy particularly, is where she made her big debut. Jean Grey was a love interest of Wolverine, Logan, and also Cyclops, and they had this kind of little lovers tryst thing happening there. And then
it's Famke Janssen.
That's right.
Famke Janssen.
That's right. That I knew it was a weird name. But anyway, so Jean Grey, and what happens is she gets to the point where she's like a level 5 mutant or whatever, and she gets to the point where she can no longer control her power. And her power basically takes on a persona of its own called the Dark Phoenix. And then when the Dark Phoenix is unleashed, there is nothing that can stop it because she's the only mutant that they know of, at least in the franchise, according to what we have seen so far, that is as powerful as she is. I don't even think that Apocalypse was as powerful as Dark Phoenix.
No, in the comics and the animated series, if you want like a quick what's up with Dark Phoenix, the X-Men animated series from like the 90s.
Yeah. The old TV show.
Yeah. But it was I remember watching Days of Future Past. That cartoon was, for its time, number one, incredibly dark, and number two, incredibly online with the storylines. It was never, the animated series never strayed from the storyline that far.
Yeah.
But it was a kid's show, and it was incredibly dark at the time. So you can go back and you can watch there was a whole series arc on Dark Phoenix, and I remember as a kid, like at freaked me out. It kind of creeped me because I'm like, because that character was so powerful.
Yeah, and so
that
dark.
she was, she could have easily just destroyed the entire universe.
Yeah, kind of. It's very Thanos-y kind of feel,
Right. But
with just
better.
the whole snap of the finger, except better and more intimidating.
Spoiler alert.
Look, if you haven't seen Infinity War at this
And you're
point,
listening to this podcast.
it's on DVD for Pete's sake. Go get it and watch it. Don't listen to this podcast anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Continue listening.
Please do.
Because we're not talking about Infinity War. We're going to do a podcast episode about that coming
we'll
up
have to.
in season 2 as a foretaste of what's to come. Oh, looks like our little buddy wants to play. Do you want to play? I can't play with you right now. We're recording a podcast. Go down. What's your name? Lulu? Get out of here, Lulu. So anyway, but we're looking at the trailer because the trailer, was it today that it dropped?
Dropped out today, yeah.
Trailer dropped today.
I got it from lunch and I saw it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and we just did a cursory viewing before recording this episode, and we'll just tell you right now, it looks
Good.
great.
It looks great.
It looks
really, really well.
Horrifying, intimidating, scary, and yet visually stunning.
Yep.
That last scene, if anybody's seen it, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you, pause the episode, go find it on the YouTube, watch it, come back, listen to the rest of the episode. But the very last scene, which is it Sophie Turner? Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, as Dark Phoenix, standing there, and you see something about, I think it's James McAvoy. No, it's what's the other guy?
Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender is saying, I have seen evil and I'm looking at it right now. And he's talking about looking at her, right? And then it cuts to this close-up shot of her face, and her eyes start to take on that fiery color, and all of a sudden all the veins in her face start to glow orangey red, and it's like, oh man, this looks fantastic.
They had done a short little play with Famke Janssen in the original. I don't want to hit the laptop. In the original. In the original movies, where you had her character, she had kind of almost exploded. I can't remember the exact what happened exactly, because that was the third one I think that they made.
Yeah, I think it was X-Men Last Stand, when she doesn't she doesn't explode. She's about to basically unleash hell, so to speak, and Logan is the only one that can get to her because of his regenerative power.
That's right.
And so he goes up to her and he basically shoots his little claws through her and kills her.
Right.
And stops her heart before she can kill everybody.
Right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because they had that spinny thing. Right? Wasn't that one they had that spinny device? I need to go back and watch those movies.
The
from
one where
the 90s.
I don't remember.
Anyway.
They were great films.
But it wasn't a good use of the character. Because
it wasn't a bad use of the character. It just wasn't a true to form.
It wasn't what it should have been.
And it wasn't great. Which anybody who's seen any of the X-Men films in the franchise will agree when I say they haven't exactly been amazing as a franchise. Now, each individual film, with very few exceptions, has been watchable, if at the very least, and at the very most, incredibly good.
That's all different, because I honestly think that the McAvoy series they've all been completely rewatchable multiple times. I think that every single one that McAvoy's done, between First Class, Days of Future Past, and what will be Dark Phoenix. Was there another one in there, or just three? Just three. Right?
It was no. There was.
There was First Class.
There was First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, and then Dark Phoenix.
I would say out of the four, I think that I probably liked Apocalypse the least, only because I didn't like Olivia Munn's character. I just found her to be annoying.
Who was she again?
She was the chick with the blue dress thing, whatever. She was on
the one that everybody was up in arms about the costume, because they're like, it's too inappropriate for her character or something like that.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, she's great at this role, and I was like, she was forgettable.
Okay. But I said I think that they've all been very, very good. They're all very rewatchable.
Oh yeah, I actually just rewatched. Was it Days of Future Past the other day?
So good. That's the best one. It's so good.
It was fantastic. And the thing is, one of the things that you don't really think about from an X-Men film, or really a superhero film, there's a lot of emotional weight attached to that film. One of the coolest plot lines and one of the hardest to watch, I guess, if you really want to be honest, was the kind of the diminishing relationship between Professor X and Mystique, because the plot thread between them is that they grew up, they're basically brother and sister, right? They grew up together and they had each other's backs, and then you kind of watch that whole relationship dissolve and then kind of mend itself, and which is kind of cool because they do pick up on that a little bit in this trailer, at least, where they kind of pick up and are like, yeah, I mean, things are still pretty good between them, which is nice to see.
And I think for me, I think Dark Phoenix, when I first heard Dark Phoenix was coming out, that was probably my most anticipated film of 2019, or is it 2019, right? Yeah, 2019. Yeah, I think it's coming out this year.
I think it's coming out next year. Yeah,
Dark Phoenix is the one movie for next year I've been waiting for forever. That and Avengers 4, but that's another story.
Yeah, the follow up to Infinity War.
But I think that Dark Phoenix will probably be the second highest grossing superhero film next year. I mean, Avengers 4 can take it.
It's a pretty lofty goal. I mean, you've got Captain Marvel coming out next year. You've got Avengers 4 coming out next year.
It's second highest. It'll be second highest. Is what I really believe.
And then you've got our next topic coming out next year as well, which we have yet to talk about.
Let's go into that now.
Before we do, just as a quick plug, I'd like to say I'm super pumped about the Venom movie. Just a little bit on the super pumped side.
I'm indifferent. That Brock character did not work in Spider-Man 3, so I'm curious to see.
Yeah,
if
but that was Topher Grace's fault. That wasn't the character's fault. It was Topher Grace.
That's true. Topher, if you're listening, you're garbage.
Topher, I watched you.
You were good in that 70s show.
I watched you in that movie Predators recently. Topher.
Predators?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
the one with what's his name? The weird guy, the piano guy.
Whatever, yeah, continue. Yeah.
Anyway, I watched you, Topher. I know you're listening. I know you're a fan of the podcast. We don't want you to be a fan of this podcast. You're trash. Go back and do that 70 show again. Maybe we'll talk.
I'm going to tweet this out tomorrow, and I'm going to tag him in this.
Until such time, we don't want you. We don't need you. We don't like you as Eddie Brock. We don't like you as some unredeemably bad character in Predators movie that just had really bad
great
language.
Show. You're great. You're great in that 70 show. Bring that back.
Yeah, bring that back, man. Revive that character in a good way. Long. Become the. I mean, that would be a pretty cool plot thread to see them do a show where he plays the role.
That 90s show where he's a dad.
Yeah, where he plays the role of his own father.
I gotta get this Furby. Oh.
Yeah. Basically, parody all of the shows from the 90s, like
Venom. I'm not looking forward to it.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I like the character of Venom, and I love the battle, the internal battle between good and evil, and then the character that they've displayed, at least in the trailer so far.
What is it with Tom Hardy taking on roles where you don't know what he's saying? Between this and Bane.
Well, he was a little bit more well spoken in the trailer in this one.
Oh, I couldn't understand what he
Bane
was
was
saying.
just. That was such a missed opportunity with that one.
Nobody cared about the mask off.
I mean, he looked the part brilliantly.
It's me, Bane.
And his physical portrayal was just excellent. But his vocal acting in that film, I don't know if they coached him to do that.
People of Gotham.
But it was just
awful. It's like they mixed up like a Scooby-Doo ghost.
Yeah.
It was like they're making somebody playing that Fluffy Bunny game with the marshmallows. It's like Fluffy Bunny.
It was like they made the Scooby-Doo live action film Part 3 and forgot to put the rest of the characters in the movie.
Is Freddie Prinze Jr. on still? He's the best.
Who?
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh man, who was the guy that played Shaggy in that? Because he still does the voice of Shaggy.
Yeah. He was in
Scream. He was like the villain in Scream.
Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. You know who else is in that? Sarah Michelle Gellar. If I wouldn't have found my wife, man, she was on my list.
Listen, Sarah Michelle Gellar was like...
She was on my hit list.
Was like every 90s kid's crush, man.
Bring back Buffy, too. Man, what was with the 90s? The 90s were excellent.
90s were an excellent decade.
Good.
All of these children that don't know what the 90s
Jennifer
really
Love
were. Ghost Whisperer.
Scream.
She was
I know you did last summer. Summer.
Yeah.
It was good stuff.
Good stuff. She was much better in Ghost Whisperer, I think.
I think we have the same birthday.
You and Jennifer Love?
Yeah, pretty sure March 2nd.
She's a lovely woman. Was. I don't know if she's anymore. She's kind of disappeared. I think she went all Christian and got out of the movies and stuff.
For her.
Yeah. Praise the Lord.
Okay, anyway, so
our
going
next
back topic.
Our next big heavy hitter that was released, a week ago?
A week ago. So Todd Phillips. Who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he do The Hangover?
I want to say he did.
I believe he did The Hangover. So
don't quote me on that.
I'm pretty sure. I know. I'm pretty sure he did.
Let's look it up.
You can
keep
look it
going.
up while I talk. So I'm pretty sure Todd Phillips did The Hangover. So he's veering into the DC arena, and he is taking on a origin story for the Joker called Joker. Now, so the trailer is a short little teaser where it basically just shows Joaquin Phoenix is playing this role of the Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is shown in regular face, and then they overlay this like projected image of like a clown, and then you see him with the full makeup on. So in my opinion, I actually kind of like the way the Joker looks. He looks a whole lot better than Jared Leto's Joker did. My word, that was a garbage train wreck.
I agree with you there. Jared Leto, listen, here's the thing. Jared Leto is such a versatile actor.
He's so good.
He's
such
an incredibly talented person. But here's my problem with Jared is he tends to lean a little too heavy into method acting. Jared, I know you're listening to this. Listen to my advice, Jared, because method acting works, but only if you're willing to kill yourself for it. I mean, look, it took Heath Ledger's life to method act his way into that.
Boo.
What?
Boo, I miss Heath.
But still, like, look, it's like Jared Leto was like, I'm willing to go almost as far, and he wasn't even close to as good.
They said that he would mail to people like on the set like dead mice in a box, whatever. Like it was like the weird.
Yeah.
But I remember watching Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, yeah.
Yeah, Suicide Squad.
And I wanted so badly to like Leto's Joker. Like I really, really wanted to. And I say it was garbage. The problem with Leto's Joker, no matter how good or bad you think it is,
it was overshadowed by Heath Ledger.
He had to follow Ledger.
Yeah, he was the only Joker following Ledger, and Ledger did such a stellar job.
Well, it wasn't fair.
That there was no way he was going to compete. And he tried really hard.
Right.
And listen, Jared, I know you're listening. I know you're a fan of the podcast. Listen, we're not knocking your skill because you do great work
actor,
and you worked really hard. It's just hard to follow an act like that.
Right. And my takeaway is I honestly believe that when all's said and done, I think that there's a good chance that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is going to go on the same level as probably, Nicholson.
Yeah.
It'll be better. It'll be better than Leto's, but it won't be as good as Ledger.
I think it'll probably
right in that middle area.
See, we've talked about the contrast between Leto or not Leto. We've talked about the contrast between Ledger and Nicholson's Jokers and how you can't really they're two iterations of the same character, but they're so vastly different because of the time period, because of the source material. Everything is so much different. And so I think that, with Leto, he was trying to channel that same vibe that Ledger did. But I think with this particular Joker, with is it Joaquin Phoenix?
Joaquin Phoenix.
I think he's leaning more into that Nicholson. I don't want to say campy, but kind of more comic based versus realistic.
That's it. I honestly think that if the 80s Batman would have been darker, okay, I think that and really by the time it was dark, it was really dark anyway. But if they would have gone with more of a darker Joker than a slapsticky Joker, kind of comic-y Joker, it would have been closer to what Ledger was like.
Also, Todd Phillips directed the entire trilogy of Hangover.
See, I thought he did. I thought it was the same time, which is almost kind of almost a little bit comical.
Well, he's actually got a pretty long string as a director of comedic, those kind of, I don't want to say raunchy, but I guess that's really the only word that fits it. Those kind of raunchy comedies. Yeah. Going through the list, he's got War Dogs, which is a raunchy comedy war film. He's got Hangovers Part 1, 2, and 3, Project X, Due Date, Borat, even like all the way back to like School for Scoundrels, Starsky and Hutch, old school. So his resume is more in that kind of raunchy comedy type,
right?
Pushing the boundaries of what's funny.
I think probably one of the reasons why I'm really excited about Joaquin Phoenix is he's been in some of the best movies of my generation.
Yeah,
he was in Inherent Vice, he was in Her, he was in We Own the Night, Reservation Road, Walk the Line. I loved Walk the Line.
Walk the Line was a hard movie to watch.
Oh yeah, but Joaquin Phoenix played that role so incredibly well. He was in Hotel Rwanda, and he was in The Village and Signs. I love Signs. I love Signs. Gladiator.
Hot take. Signs is, in my opinion, one of the finest pieces of film work that Shyamalan ever did.
Yes, I agree.
It stands second only to like Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Though I did like some of the other films that he made, those two are by and large the best films he ever made.
I agree.
Sidestep. Sorry, back to the topic.
Like I said, Joaquin Phoenix is one of the best actors of my generation.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, I remember, I've watched I'm Still Here, when he did that whole I'm going to be a rapper kind of like hoax thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's just so good. He's so good at what he does. I think that when he takes this role, he is going to absolutely crush this role of the Joker. But I think it'll be a completely different Joker than what we're used to. It's going to be more of a, it'll be more, closer to more like what Ledger was, where it's like that realistic, just a person that's just basically gone crazy, that's going to try to make you believe that this is the kind of person that he is. And so I do think that, I think that when all's said and done, it'll be one of the better Jokers. It won't be the worst Joker. It won't be the best.
I think it'll be
that middle of the road, because it'll be hard for anyone to ever top the role that Ledger played, no matter what. I don't care if you make 20 different Jokers. Okay, it'll be hard for anyone to top Ledger's role. But at the same time, I have big issues with the Joker with this movie, because part of the caveat and the appeal and thrill of the Joker is that there is no origin story.
Yeah.
There's not supposed to for the Joker. It's not supposed to have an origin story. Yes, there are origin stories out there. There are several out there. If you go online, there I could think of right now off the top of my head 7 different origin stories of where he came from. There, they had an origin story for the Joker in the 80s Batman movie. There are pieces laid around where there are these origins from where the Joker came from, but none of them are the same. And part of the appeal of the Joker is that there is no origin story. So I'm curious to see what Todd Phillips does with this origin story for the Joker, because there's not supposed to be one. And that's probably my biggest hang up right now, and my only negative comment about this 10-second teaser is that there's not supposed to be an origin story. Right.
Well, the only thing, one of the things that made Ledger's Joker so good was the fact that you never really knew what he was saying, whether it was true or false, right? There was this everything he did was such a misdirect, which made it, I think, more gritty, more raw, and a whole lot more intimidating, because there's nothing more intimidating than somebody who you don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
Somebody that's completely off the wall, unpredictable, right? And so, that's something that I think that is going to be interesting to see their take on it, and how they go from this unpredictable, off the wall to showing maybe the origin of how he got that way. I'm interested to see, do they bring the scars into it? If they do, how do they write those in? Is this film going to be, what's the rating going to be?
Right.
If it's a film about a villain,
I would guess R.
I would imagine
Todd Phillips
so.
Will be an R rated movie. I'm willing to bet. My question is that the images that you see in this trailer, there are no scars.
Yeah, it's just the paint. So the question is it going to be more like a John Wayne Gacy murder story?
I was just going to say, it looks like a John Wayne Gacy clown. Like, it looks like that serial killer clown.
Shout out to my boy Corey, who's probably one of the only people that listens to this podcast that'll know who John Wayne Gacy is. If you don't know who it is, I don't encourage you to go look it up, because it's some freaky stuff.
But there is a great documentary on it, a good documentary. It's
on him?
Also terrifying.
Is it that Making a Murderer thing?
No, it was on, like, back when like like I think it was A&E. Back when A&E was less like TV show, more like documentary stuff.
Yeah.
Like there was a phenomenal documentary on Gacy, and it was terrifying.
Pretty much anything that has to do with murderers is freaky to me, especially this time of year. We're closely broaching the darkest month of the entire year, not necessarily in lumens, if you know what I mean. The darkest month as far as content goes, and that's when all the freaks come out.
Right.
So anyway, so the movie Joker is coming out. Exciting stuff. Dark Phoenix is coming out. Very, very exciting. And man, we're just, as nerds, we're just geeking out over here. We're having a great time with it. But before we go on, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for today's episode. KS Marketing and all that they do in marketing world is awesome. If you need anything done with marketing, if you need a logo, if you need a marketing strategy put together, if you need branding done for a particular event, if you need a branding package put together, my boy Kenneth over at KS Marketing can get it done. He's one of the smartest people I know, one of the most detail-oriented people I know, and if he sets his mind to it, he will get it done. And all it takes for him to set his mind to it is a call from somebody who's willing to pay him.
I believe it.
Right? So give my boy over at KS Marketing a call, set him up with some work, and make sure to mention that you heard about him through the AD Show podcast, and I'm sure he'll give you a 0% discount, because he's just that kind of a nice guy.
It's good solid rate.
Yeah, so thank you to Kenneth and KS Marketing for all you do for the podcast, and thank you to our listeners for going and checking out his work. And now back to the podcast.
So next topic, which I'm actually more excited than I should be about.
Yeah, I think this kind of sums your entire life up.
It does. So last month or 2 weeks ago was the Apple keynote.
Yeah.
And
man. SSDC? WWDC.
WWDC.
What would Democrats cry about? I don't know.
You're going to alienate probably 0% of our audience, so continue.
We're not going there. We're not a political podcast.
Not yet. So they had they showed off iOS 12.
Worldwide Developers Conference, for those that don't know.
They showed off Mojave.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because that iOS 12 and Mojave were actually back in spring's WWDC.
Sorry, they released
them, yes.
Well, Mojave came out Monday.
Mojave came out, I think it was 2 weeks post.
No, Mojave didn't come out until this week.
Yeah, but it was 2 weeks post-conference. And then it was 1 week post-conference for iOS 12.
Anyway,
they did release new phones.
Devices.
New devices, a new watch.
They've got a 44 millimeter Series 4.
Apple Watch, yeah.
Which I saw that today, and I'm like, I did not know they made a 44 millimeter.
Well, it's only 2 millimeters bigger than...
Millimeter, not milliliter.
It's only 2 milliliters bigger than the... Well, your dog is going to be bouncing off the wall. She just took a big old sip of my coffee.
Get out of that coffee.
Lulu, get out of here.
You're ruining Studio 3.
You're cutting into Studio 3 recording time. Look, what are you... She just took off like she literally ran about 30 miles an hour out of the
train wreck. So Apple has released 2 new phones, the successor to the iPhone 10,
yes.
The iPhone 10s, and the iPhone 10s Max.
Yes.
And I
ordered.
I love my wife and I love my daughter. This is like my third love.
So getting the newest iPhone every time it comes out.
The iPhone 10s Max is basically the size of like the 78 Plus, but it is like all screen.
Yeah,
and it's
huge.
It's glorious. I've been hands on with a few of those this week.
Yeah,
and they're glorious. I mean,
you haven't gotten yours in.
No.
And I actually, and this is funny, our listeners will appreciate this. If you've checked out any of our YouTube channel stuff, I personally have a YouTube channel, Lewis Creative Media, shameless plug. Check it out. And if you looked at any of my videos, I actually did an unboxing. I recently made the investment to purchase a 2018 MacBook Pro, and I did an unboxing video and, just to share kind of my thoughts on the upgrade process, because it took me 6 years to go from a MacBook Pro 2012, all the way up to an 18. That was a pretty big difference. So I made an unboxing video. Thought it would be kind of cool. Nice way to kind of, stretch my
video.
producer wings. And I actually approached Austin I actually approached you to do an unboxing video whenever you got your 10s Max.
The problem is,
you can't contain yourself. Like you get it. You're like a giddy schoolboy. You get it, and you're just like,
it, and it's going to be opened up. I may just hold it for you, and I may be a good friend.
Hey, if you can do that, if you can hold on, listen, listeners, this is for you. If you see us post about an unboxing video for an iPhone 10s Max, it's because Austin demonstrated some incredibly high levels of self-control. If you don't see it, you'll understand why.
If there's anything that I've learned about myself in my 33 years of life, it's that self-will is not really my thing.
Well, I mean, what do you need it for at this point in your life? You know, you're kind of just coasting through your midlife crisis and just.
It's a bigger screen for playing gin rummy. Helps me.
It's so you can read your iBooks with giant print.
I read books. I'm an American. All right.
I'm an American. I don't
Dew
read.
and watch TV. Anyway, so you know, they had all the new devices that they released. And frankly, you know, Apple always does the S models when there isn't much of a change. So you know, when you went from the 6
to the 6S,
it was basically a chipset.
I think
now
it was
the 6S to the 7. They did the haptic feedback instead of like the click button and the camera, and then the 7 to the 8, because there was no 7S. So the 7 to the 8 is when they introduced the wireless charging, etc.
They also did Force Touch with the 7. So it was a haptic feedback instead of the actual click button, which wasn't a huge feature, but the actual Force Touch was the big...
That was on the 6S also.
Oh, was it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe that was the 6S. Maybe that was the one that had the Force Touch.
Yeah, it was one of the reasons why they you know, because the phone they only change the numbers whenever there's like changes to the phone itself.
Right.
You know the
design,
the
actual
iPhone 10
style.
to the iPhone 10s. The big difference is you know, it's a newer chipset, a bigger battery,
bigger screen.
Well, I'm just a regular 6S.
Oh,
or
yeah.
10S
I'm thinking of the 10S.
10. So you know there isn't a huge difference. But the new Apple Watch, they've actually redesigned it pretty well. It's a little bit thicker.
It's got a laminated display.
Yeah, the body's shaped differently. But it looks really, really good. Like it's, you know, I have the Series 1 watch, so I'm not able to get the new Watch OS with the new faces, so I'm kind of down about that.
Yeah, I actually have the Series 3. The new faces, here's the thing. With Apple they released Watch OS 5, and with them releasing Apple Watch Series 4, they didn't put a whole lot of effort into creating things specifically for the older model watches. Right. The older model watches, anybody that has one will recognize the bezeling on them is pretty severe. The screen, it's a big old bezel, which if you use a black background watch face, you don't really notice it, which is what I do. I don't particularly care for those full bright, you know, with the picture or whatever. I don't particularly care for those. But, you know, with the new one that's coming out, they actually did an edge-to-edge screen with rounded corners. It's a bigger display. I said that it was a laminated display, but they have been laminated, I think, since Series 2.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe even since Series 1 or even the original. But... they didn't put a whole lot of... They put some thought into the new watch faces, but there's not any more... Like, one of the big features for the new Apple Watch was the additional complications sections, right? For those of you that don't have Apple Watch, complications are basically little areas that show little widgets of different apps, right? So if you look at an Apple Watch, for example, mine, I've got the clock, I've got the date, I've got the weather... and a couple of other features, my battery, my water intake, things like that on there. And each one of those little icons is a clickable app opening button. And it's called a complication, right? So the new face on the new Apple Watch Series 4 has up to 8 complications, where I think the limitation on the Series 3 and beyond or backward was, I think it was 5 or 6. Sure. I can't remember. Anyway, they didn't put any of those changes into the older watches. It's only for the new stuff, which kind of stinks, but you know, it's a nice fresh update. It does add a couple of features. There's a walkie-talkie feature that's pretty cool. Without going into too much detail, it's pretty nice. But the change that we're really discussing within Apple's new releases is the screen. Apple iPhone XS Max has a 6.5 inch on the diagonal screen. And the big pressing question, if anybody has been a cell phone user for an extended period of time, you'll think back to 10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, when flip phones were all the rage, right?
How small can they get?
How small can they get? And now...
I remember in Zoolander, they had the joke.
Yeah.
Was that Zoolander?
It was Zoolander.
No, it was Zoolander. It was SNL, where they were at the Gap. I think they worked at the Gap, and Will Ferrell came in with that phone, and it's like the size of like a Pez.
Yeah.
And he like kind of cranks it open, and he puts it up next to his ear, and he's like, "Hello."
Yeah.
Like back then, it was how small can we get the phones?
And now it's kind of the inverse, because it's like every time there's a new phone that comes out, I think even Samsung, right? They used to have
they've got
they used to have
the
like
Galaxy,
the Note,
and then like S9, S9 Plus, and then the Note 8. Note 8, I think is what it is.
Yeah,
now.
and it's got like an 8-inch screen.
So yeah, but the question is, how big are these screens going to get? What's the size of the screen on the iPad Mini?
iPad Mini is a 7.1.
7.1. So literally, you are with, not joking,
within 0.6 of an inch.
You
from
are just barely half an inch from being an iPad Mini.
Yeah.
Now the question is, the point's going to be is that the phones can't really get much wider. Your hands can't hold that.
So they're eventually just going to be like a 3.5 foot long phone.
And there was a meme back in the day, like when the 6 came out. It was like iPhone 20, and it was like stretching out to like the sky. Like it was funny. But seriously, how tall are these phones going to get?
That's a good question, and the answer to that question, I believe, is found in how long are people's faces going to get?
Giraffes.
Why the long face, brother? I'm trying to fit the new phone.
A real question for me is going to be, if these phones keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, what all will this affect? Clothing manufacturers?
Jinko jeans are going to make a comeback with those long
bring
pockets.
them back, man. Listen, when I was younger, I wanted a pair of Jinko jeans so bad. So bad.
For our younger audience, Jinko jeans were jeans that were popular back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. 90s. And they were these pants that had, my mom will remember this. Mom, if you were listening, you're probably cringing right now, because they were pants that were designed to look like you were sagging without actually sagging. And the way that they did that was they made the back pockets, instead of the typical like fit your wallet, maybe a tall wallet or a phone.
Fit a whole phone booth in there.
You could fit a whole phone booth, because the pocket was literally 2.5 feet deep.
But and the pant legs would literally cover your entire shoe.
They were massive.
They were massive.
They were like gigantic denim parachute
and
pants.
I wanted a pair so bad.
And they had these really ornately embroidered designs all over the backside of them. So it was like you sat in like
amazing
graffiti.
I wanted a pair so bad. My mom would never let me get a pair.
Yeah, well, they were like $145 a pair because all that denim. You could pant an entire country with one pair of Jinko jeans. Yeah,
and I remember wanting a pair so bad, and my mom was just like, "Yeah, I'm not buying you those.
I'm not going to pay."
Although this is also the same mom that one time I wore my red jeans. I have red jeans, and she did not like those very much at all. She also doesn't like skinny. She doesn't get. My mom doesn't get fashion. I love her to death, but she doesn't get it.
Isn't that kind of interesting? How it was around the time that Jinko jeans were in style that phones were getting smaller, right? And you'd lose your phone in your pocket. But nowadays, it's like the phones are getting bigger and the pants are getting tighter.
Huge.
Am I right?
It's true.
And eventually, they're going to have to find a balancing point, because eventually the phones are going to be so big they won't fit into the pockets. Right. And I think we're broaching that very quickly.
I do think that I think at some point we're kind of maxed out on phone size. We really are.
Well, I mean, eventually you'll end up with, you've got your iPad Pro, right? 12.9 inch. 12.9 it's actually bigger than my entire MacBook put together, and heavier too. And the crazy thing is that I would imagine if phone designers and developers were left unabated, they would probably eventually end up creating a phone that was as big as your iPad.
Right. I am a firm believer. I don't see a way that Apple could make their phones any bigger than what they currently are. I really don't. I mean, all joking aside, realistically, I don't know how you make a bigger phone than what you have right now. Apple has the biggest phone and the biggest screen on any device
in the entire market at this point.
I don't know
until
how
next year.
I don't know how you can legitimately make a phone any bigger.
I know exactly how they're going to do it.
Samsung will try because I assume come come April and May, whenever Samsung's conference is, they're going to have a big, a 6.6 inch screen or whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to try. They're going to trump it a little bit, but
the real question remains: how do you make a phone that big? Because at some point it's too big.
Right.
The XS Max, you basically need two hands to use it.
Well, I tell you exactly how next September's WWDC is going to go. Tim Cook is going to get up on the podium and he's going to say, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you the brand new iPhone XS Max Plus."
No.
It'll be 3 inches bigger.
I think that Apple did it the right way. They basically kept the phones. The XS Max is the same size as the 7 and 8 Plus, but they went edge on the screen. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah,
I think that they've learned that right now that their phone size is as big as as big as you can realistically go until you get to the point where we're plugged in 24/7, which we're pretty close anyway. But until you get to the point where it's you. Like, I'm not going to carry a purse. I have a bag in my car that I use for work.
Yeah,
but I don't take it with me wherever I go. And if you get a phone bigger, bigger than that, you're going to have a bag with you all the time. I'll have to get a man purse.
Right.
I want something nice. I want a nice like worn in brown leather, maybe like a like a crossbody bag type.
Something like Indiana Jones would carry.
Yeah, but less flappy and a little bit smaller, like a purse. But for men,
like could you imagine? Imagine you're walking down the street in I don't know, Chicago. That's close. That's close to where we are. It's within 700 miles of where we currently are.
Not wrong.
Imagine walking down the street in Chicago, and you see. You're not you're somebody else, and you see you walking towards you with a nice sling bag, like one of those ones that like mothers carry. That's like it's their purse, but also their phone whenever they're out and about and they don't want to have to carry this giant tote bag, right? And you reach into this, nice man purse, and all you have in there is your phone. Which, honestly, at this point, with the way that technology is going, not to get biblical prophecy on you, but we're getting closer and closer to a cashless society. You don't really even need anything but your phone with Apple Pay.
It's true.
And then if you have the Series 3 or the Series 4 Apple Watch that's got cellular, you don't even need your phone. You have Apple Pay on your watch, which I've used a couple of times. It feels a little biblical, to be real honest. I'm not sure if I really like it, but I don't know. It's kind of a crazy thought. So the question we pose, and listeners, please comment below this, comment on this post or on this, what is this episode? Comment on this episode, comment on the post that we tag this episode in on Facebook or on Instagram, and let us know, how big do you think iPhone screens will get? Do you think they'll go bigger than 6.5? Do you think they'll go smaller? Do you think we'll eventually end up with a thumb-sized screen that's all we have is just a little clicker and you just touch it and, what do you think what's going to happen?
Bring back Google Glass.
Yeah, Google Glass is going to make a comeback. That was such a letdown, man.
I was optimistic that it would be amazing, and I think it honestly, this can sound really weird, but Google Glass to me felt so pervy. It just felt so invasive and so in your face.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that there was a camera on there and you could blink and take a picture, that felt so inappropriate to me.
Yeah.
This is creepy.
The thing is, though,
too much.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I don't have a problem personally. I don't know if I don't like the idea of the camera bit. I do like the idea of the glasses with the ability, everybody's seen those commercials for bone induction headphones.
Listen, all joking aside, I demoed a pair of those at CES
bone induction headphones.
The sound quality is phenomenal.
Really?
I loved it. I would have, if I could have got a pair of bone induction, because they go right behind your ear, and the sound was it sounded crystal clear. But your ears were wide open, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And they were comfortable as all get out.
I've been really tempted to try some, but here's my thing. If they could find a way to make a nice, trendy, clean, even with prescriptions kind of pair of glasses that have bone induction speakers built in so that you can take phone calls with your glasses on by voice command, by touching the rim of your glasses, however you want to do it. That way you can hear the phone call without having to have a headphone in or an earpiece or whatever. That'd be great.
Well,
Plus,
I think that's close.
the idea of an augmented reality notification system via the glasses, I would be up for that. I think a heads up display type thing with weather, even like an augmented reality GPS or flagged hotspots type thing would be really cool.
I mean, I think we're close to that kind of stuff. I mean, society is becoming more and more smart, more and more connected.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time before everything is online. I mean, literally everything. Everything in your day-to-day life will be online.
There was a film about that, a Netflix original. It wasn't great. I can't remember what it was called, though. I'll have to do some research and give you some information on that. But there was a film about that that they put out on Netflix not long ago. That was interesting. All about wearing these contacts or having these implants put in your eye, that everything you see is recorded and all this kind of stuff.
On Black Mirror.
No, it was actually they made a feature film out of it on Netflix.
Well, Black Mirror did something like that, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool idea. It's kind of scary.
It's terrifying. I hated it.
Interesting technology. If
you've not seen Black Mirror on Netflix, it's a British show from the BBC.
Well, I think now it's a Netflix original.
The Netflix original.
I think they bought it.
It was so well done. It's basically like Twilight Zone meets technology.
Yeah,
and you watch it. Skip the first episode. For all that's good and holy,
the one with
do not watch the first. Don't watch the pilot episode of this show.
No,
skip it.
The one with
skip it.
The one with BDH, aka Bryce Dallas Howard. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Which I'm a fan of BDH myself.
Yeah.
I like her.
Yeah,
I think she's pretty cool. You know, she's Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until just recently. Interesting.
She looks just like him.
She does now that I think about it, but I didn't know at the time.
Yeah, gross.
Anyway, so we've got a lot in store for you guys, the listener, over the next few episodes with season 2. Season 2 is going to be #dope. If you haven't yet,
shouldn't say that.
We're
too old to use #dope in our normal day-to-day lives.
We're too old to use verbal hashtags. Sorry, guys. Anyway, if you haven't already, check us out on the socials. Instagram at AD Show Official is our hashtag or our Instagram handle. Check us out on Facebook at the A&D Show, and check us out on our newly
AD.showofficial.
AD.showofficial. Sorry about that, fellas. Also, check us out on our newly opened and released YouTube channel, which is just the A&D Show. So it's A.
And we have more stuff coming to it soon. We just haven't.
Show. We released one video. Check it out. It's called The History of Theme Parks.
It's amazing.
It's great. It's the best 6.5 minutes of your life.
It's very insightful.
Yeah, a lot of good information, a lot of truth in that. If you can't tell, we're being sarcastic.
No, I'm not.
But check us out on all the socials. And, man, just get jacked for this season. It's just going to be good.
Oh, you scared
I just scared I slapped my hand down on the couch.
The non-garbage dog. It's gonna be a good season. I'm looking forward to it.
It is going to be good.
It's going to be back on the air.
We've got a lot of good things coming. We got a new theme song.
Yeah.
We got a new logo.
We do a new logo. I didn't do any of this stuff.
Everything is very. That's got this real cool '80s vibe.
David is the arts of the team, and I am the meh of the team.
The meh of the team. Yeah, that's true.
That's how I live my life.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to live your life at all, live it very meh.
Me and Paul Walker live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Oh man, too soon.
You thought I was going to go dark, didn't you?
Wow.
I'm not going dark.
That's such a bad way to end this episode.
I don't. Why is that bad? Is it honor to Paul Walker to live my life a quarter mile at a time?
Oh, that's so dark.
I'm going to go out and race my Hyundai Elantra.
Hyundai Elantra. This is what you have, isn't it?
It is. It is what I have.
A little race car.
Vroom vroom.
I want it to stop.
Oh no.
Oh man, that was such a good ending.
We're stuck in purgatory.
We're stuck in podcast purgatory.